This is the other garden I was telling you about, that retired people, more than likely retired people are taking care of this. And it's an interesting story about this garden. Literally more than 50 years ago, as a young man, I used to volunteer here with an older man. This is a good example of a native plant garden that was put in with great intentions, and now it's a mess. I mean, there's still some native plants in here, but it's getting crowded out by weeds and invasive species. And I'm a member. This is a nature center. I'm a member here, and there's a handful of volunteers, younger people, that keep the trails clean. There's a creek that's stocked with trout. It's a beautiful place. You know, like every place else in northern New Jersey, it's getting crowded out with invasive species, and the deer population is completely out of control. So they built this thing. This thing is tremendous. It's all fenced in. There's a gate over there. They planted a bunch of native plants in here to keep the deer out, and it's been successful at doing that. And it goes down to the bottom, keeps the woodchucks and rabbits out. So, I mean, this cost a lot of money. They put a lot of time and effort into this, you know. But there's a lot of work that has to be done in this park. And, you know, these are younger people. They're working people. They have families. They have professions. It's not that easy, you know, to take care of everything. So this would be so perfect for a retired person to come in and say, hey, you know what? I'd like to maintain that garden with a little, you know, a little backing from somebody perhaps who knows about native plants, knows what's weeds. But I would come in and weed it and trim it and keep it nice. This is perfect. These are the kinds of things I'm talking about when I say you need to retire for nature. Somebody should be maintaining this garden and be perfect for a couple of retired people to do it. And it's small. It's not that big. What is it? For 6 feet maybe by 4 feet. It can be done. Let me show you what's going on inside it. Okay, we'll take a look inside. So there's some phlox paniculata blooming, native plant, butterfly magnet. You know, that's a great plant. There is thermopsis that had bloomed. Over here, there's Rudbeckia laciniata. So there's some native plants in here. There's some Joe Pye weed in the back. But look down here. There's mile-a-minute. There's porcelain berry. There's a lot of this stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's native. There's non-native grasses. So it's a mess. There's some mugwort. So they need somebody. It's just, like I said, it's not that big. They need a retired person to say, listen, I'd like to be in charge of this and come in here and clean out. There is white snake root, which is a native, and it's going to be nice. It'll bloom, but you don't need too much of it. There's a little aster trying to push through. You know, a lot of non-native grasses. This is what I'm talking about. And I'm going to show you some more examples of these kinds of things. But if you want to retire for nature, this is perfect. Not a lot of hard work here. You do a little at a time, an hour a day. It doesn't have to be this particular park, but something like this. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, we'll look around a little more. Here is another example of a native plant garden that well-intentioned people planted quite a few years ago. You can see the sign is rotten. But within, you know, I come to this park often, and within 2 years, it had gone to crap. There are some native plants in here, but I don't think they planted them. There's some white snake root and late boneset, and there's a couple of common milkweed. But I remember when they first planted it, there were phlox and Rudbeckia and some sunflowers. It was very nice, you know. But then, you know, they plant it and then they walk away and nobody takes care of it. And this is what happens really quickly. And this would be a perfect spot for some retired people to come in. It's not very big. And there's actually, I don't even think you can see it. There's a nice trellis in here with, steel trellis with steel butterflies on it. It's beautiful. Retired people could come in here, clean this all up, put some nice native plants, and maintain it. Come. It's easy. You come once a week and weed a little bit. Maybe bring some water. There might even be water available here, although I don't think so. But at any rate, it's another one of these things where a retired person can do something good for nature and get out of the house and get in the sun. And it's a beautiful day today. It's the end of July. It's in the upper 70s. There's no humidity. It's absolutely gorgeous today. And I'll bet half my retired friends are sitting home on their easy chairs, getting fat, probably being depressed. Come on, man, look what you could be doing. There's so much that retired people could do for themselves, to give themselves a sense of purpose, but at the same time help the planet for future generations. Because things are going downhill fast. Planet needs us. Okay. I might want to show you a nice garden. I don't know if I'll get there today. Where retired people are taking care of it. It's beautiful, very, very nice. They're not even with an organization as far as I know. It's just a bunch of people that took it upon themselves to take care of this native plant garden that somebody planted. I don't even know who. Okay, we'll see you in the next one. Here's an example of a little native plant garden that is being maintained. I know a young lady started this garden. So this is on a high school property, and she asked permission, and they said, sure, go ahead. And she planted this little garden. I know she went off to college. So I don't know who's maintaining it. Maybe she is in the summer months, but maybe retired people are. They certainly could be. She has a couple of nice signs in it. And here's some swamp milkweed. Some obedient plant is very nice. Nothing's really in bloom much here. Here's some verbicina. This particular plant isn't really native to New Jersey, but it's still a nice plant. This is a frost plant, I think they call it. Some common milkweed. I've seen a lot of monarchs flying around this thing. There's some mountain mint. There is a nice penstemon, a red leaf penstemon. I know there's some golden Alexander seedlings in here. There probably was a nice plant at one time. A little Monarda fistulosa. Pretty, right? So, I mean, this is what a retired person could do. Took a little bit of work, not too much, but it does take some maintenance. As you saw in the other garden pictures that we looked at, they were just a big mess because nobody maintained them. So this is what a retired person can do in their free time and know they're doing something good for the environment. Doing something good for future generations. Have a purpose in life. Retire for nature. Plant some native plants and maintain them. That's the big thing. This is the other garden I was telling you about, that retired people, more than likely retired people are taking care of this. And it's an interesting story about this garden. Literally more than 50 years ago, as a young man, I used to volunteer here with an older man. So this man, his name was Don. He was an iris specialist, and he lived nearby me. I don't even know how I got hooked up with him, but he asked me if I would help him in a public garden that he had a garden in. And so I did, and he had iris garden, a German iris, German bearded iris, and he had 100 different varieties of it. And the garden was beautiful, and he maintained it all by himself. So it's just so funny because it's kind of gone full circle. So here I am, an old man, and I have a big garden in a park, and I maintain it pretty much all by myself. But he got to the point where he needed some help, and he asked me if I would help him, and I did. and did that for quite a while until he was unable to do it anymore, you know. But the gardens have continued here in this park, and this is a garden that a little protected from the deer. Apparently, somebody's watering it, although we're in a drought. Everything is a little peaked looking, but this is something that you could do. This is what a retired person could do. I'm sure there's several people that are taking care of this, but I don't even know that for sure. You know, I don't know who maintains it, but it's a beautiful garden. It's mostly native plants. There's some Joe Pye weed. There's cardinal flower. There's usually a hummingbird around. This is Agastaches. This is Anise hyssop. I know there's monarchs flying around. Rudbeckia. There is some Verbena bonariensis, which is not native, which is one I also have in my garden, but it's a really good pollinator plant. You know, so there's a lot of different things in here. Here's some Latris spigata. So it's pretty much native garden. It's pesticide-free zone. They have a sign up here, which is very nice. Some coreopsis. You know, there's some blue lobelia in the back. It's just a beautiful little garden, and it's not very big. And it probably only takes a couple of people a couple hours a week to keep this beautiful, you know. And there's tons of pollinators here. So this is what I'm talking about when I say retirees can do a little something, you know. This is not a big deal, especially if 3 or 4 people are doing it. And so hopefully I'll inspire you a little bit or give you some ideas or get you off your butt and join some organizations, do a little investigation, find out where you could be doing this kind of thing, you know. And, you know, please hit like and subscribe. Leave me comments. I'd love to hear from you. I really would. And hopefully I will see you in the next one.